Good morning, race fans. I am excited for this next adventure. I am going to be a flag marshal for a local Daytona International Speedway race. SCCA is an organization that has flag marshals go to all these different races, volunteers, but we are part of the Name Down Below event. And today I'm gonna learn all there is to know about flag marshaling. It'll take me more than one day, I know, but I'm excited to be here and to learn more about racing and the logistics between what makes a race happen. So I can't film while I'm on the corner stand, and of course the flag marshal's role is to keep everyone safe, so in the name of safety I won't be doing much filming, but I just want to document my experience off the track. Just got done registering. Signing up for the SCCA is $100, and I think they pay like $50 a half day and $100 for a full day. So it is nice to get paid to do this. At registration, they gave me a shirt for the event, SARRC Invitational, and it's a challenge that's usually held near Savannah, Georgia, but this time this doesn't ever get old. Driving through the tunnels of the high banks of Daytona never gets old. The experience of coming out on the other side of this modern marvel, I don't know, it's just inspiring. Look at that bohemia in the high banks. So we're heading to our turn. We're at turn 3, which is the infield. And then we'll set up with my friend Paul, who's leading me through, and we're gonna be on the corner together. So I did a little bit of classroom work, a 90-minute online tutorial on flagging. And basically you have two flaggers, one looking one way on the track, the other looking down the track. And depending on your role, you could be, the person holding the yellow flag or the person holding the passing flag. The passing flagger looks towards the traffic. The yellow caution flag looks away from the traffic, which is kind of concerning because you never want to turn your back to a speeding vehicle. So you work as a team to stay safe. So just getting prepped and meeting with the crew. We had a 7:15 call time this morning and got introduced to Jim, our chief flagger, and also Tim, our RE for the CFR, Central Florida region. And now we're being told to stay off the grass, that costs money. I'm definitely excited to see what cars there are gonna be running, which I think there's a GT3 class and local club members. So just understanding more about racing is very neat. And if Malin or Olivia decides they want to take their Power Wheels to the next level, maybe I'll know more about racing. Cool car. So since it's my first time, I really don't know where I'm going, so Paul's luckily leading me around, but I'm already getting distracted by cool cars. I'm very excited, like I said, to see which types of vehicles we'll be running. And we are driving onto the track. This is kind of cool. Suburban gets to see some really awesome spots, from airports to now infield on Daytona International. This is so cool. Okay, we just got parked. They're calling group 1 to the grid, so we got to check our flags and their conditions and report in. And this is where I'll leave you guys. As we make it to turn 3 flag stand, we inspect the flags, make sure they're good, and also the road surface of the racetrack. Make sure there's no obvious oil slicks or debris to radio in. And then Race Central will check in with us from the tower. As we see a lot of competitors showing up with their race cars, this is probably one of the first groups to go. They're going to the staging area or the grid. First flag session, done. Great instructing. Got to wave the yellow flag for one Miata spin. And it's like fishing. You're like, you don't know when the next bite's gonna come, but you want everyone to be safe. And that's our role, is to keep everyone safe. And like Scott said, best view in the house, baby. We're part of the action. How long you been doing this?
I don't know. Probably
20 years?
more.
Still coming back. I love it. It's fun. That was Paul, and there is Scott in the green hat. And we've got a little bit of a break before our next race is underway. So the marshals, will bring their own chair, their own cooler. The SCCA or whoever's running it usually provides drinks and some snacks. So here we are just getting some downtime before the next race starts. Because there was 3 of us at turn 3, we're kind of rotating, and I'm taking a break on this race. So here's some behind the scene actions. We got Paul here with the white flag. We now are showing a yellow waving flag and a black flag indicating the session is coming to an end. So I don't remember what exactly happened. Here is a close-up of the action. All right, a couple things. The LMP2 car we saw just recently pass us had an oil plume smoke trail from turn 3 to turn 5 and spun at turn 5. So that was a big moment. A lot of flag waving. I was in observation duty on that one. Also learning the lingo. A lot of runners where after the session is completed, some people just disobey the black flag or the checker flag, and they keep doing laps, which is costing other competitors time to practice. So today's a practice, tomorrow is going to be a race, and there's an endurance race. So tons of fun, cool cars. My first day on the job is coming to an end. It was a 10-hour day and a lot of sun exposure, so it was starting to get hot towards the end of the day, and you can see me here with an umbrella just holding it above my head until the race started, and then I would put it down. But the weather has been changing. What an exhausting day. Well, look, that was from 7:15 to 5 p.m. standing in the sun. How do I look? Not so bad, but I am exhausted because I did wake up at 3 a.m. to drive from Stewart, and I am feeling bushwhacked. But the experience was awesome. I mean, meeting Paul and Scott. Paul was like a little bit my trainer. Getting so close to the action, not having a fence, it was like my kind of danger. Just exciting enough. Got to come back and do it again tomorrow, 7:15. And then the endurance race is it ends at 9:15 p.m. But yeah, it's totally fun. I highly recommend finding an SCCA local chapter, see if it's close, and if it is, definitely a fun way to spend a weekend. But my first impressions when I stepped up to the area was like, oh, is this too dangerous? You got like a 2-foot berm of grass and metal railing between me and the cars going into the International Horseshoe. But we'll come back and do it again. That was fun. The people are totally cool though. Just heading out the way, I met Adrian, the first person that I introduced myself to in our morning meeting, and just shooting the breeze, talking about the Mustang, and we're just saying goodbye. He's like, how'd you like it? And I was like, I'll see you tomorrow. It was awesome. I'm gonna get some sleep though. And he's like, no, I'm gonna be racing in the Spec Miatas. It'll be race number 81. So go ahead. They got the drivers participating in volunteering as a FNC. That's so cool. So we'll be cheering on my boy Adrian tomorrow, number 81. And it's totally rad. I love it. What made this experience even cooler was my buddy who was on the LSU wakeboard team has moved to Florida and bought a house on the coast. So 20-minute drive, and I'm hanging out with Luke Meadows.
What's going on, dude?
Oh, man, this is nice. This is heaven on earth.
Right?
After catching up with Luke for a little bit, we had a drink and a dip in the ocean that was across the street from his house. And unfortunately, I got real sick that night. So I showed up around 10 a.m. and got put on turn 5. This is still part of the infield part of Daytona, and each turn has a unique characteristic. This view is awesome, and it was real cool to hear how different corner marshal instructors teach and how they're viewing the racing and communicating the hazards to race control. So each day is a learning opportunity. For example, here we're watching the cars turn through turn 5, and you can see underneath the car pretty good at this angle. So if they're leaking any fuel or oil, we can see any kind of hazards or potential hazards. And this is a formation lap under the safety car, so they're restricted to a set speed. So if the car is going to have a mechanical failure right off the bat, we can address that before it becomes a problem. Here's a quick look at how close we are from the guardrail to the racetrack. The marshals are incredibly close to the action, which we have to keep an eye out for any rogue cars. But here you see the cars going on the high bank. You got a good view of that, as well as the passing cars going into turn 5. There we are. They're passing down the back stretch, which is going into turn 6, where there's another corner marshal that will flag them into the pits if they need to get shown a black flag. Also, that's one of my favorite Porsches right there. It's like a super old, cool Porsche. Another safety car. These are the V8s, the big boys going out. That Mustang right there, white and blue Shelby, is one of 50 production race cars from Mustang. There's another quick little Mustang going by. So not a lot of Mustangs in this race or in the racing period, but it's cool to see how people are turning Mustangs into race cars. Because today is a longer day with the endurance race going on, we have lunch provided for us. So each one of the marshals will take a turn sitting down, eating, getting revived, so that they can get back on the stand and get back into the action of keeping these cars safe. Here we see a BMW dragging a bumper. He had lost that somewhere on the high bank. We also see this Miata. If I could slow it down, he's leaking some type of fuel, and I was really worried about it, but race control said no worries, we'll just pull him off the track if he runs out of fuel. They're more worried about oil or something that's going to stick to the surface and not evaporate. The endurance race went well into the night, and then we were back up in the morning for a 7:15 call time to get back to the action. Safety vehicle doing their checks, doing their drive, getting their stations. Last day of racing. It's Sunday. I didn't do too much vlogging yesterday. I was really feeling out of it and sick in the morning. So we're out here. And again, I'm not filming during an active session where I'm actually flagging. You know, if I am filming cars, it's, you know, being an observer, as this is my first time here. Because when you're out here, you're being a legitimate safety concern. So as these guys are getting ready, they're looking at the track surface and they're identifying to the safety crew. They're just checking the surface. They're saying, hey, I think we see some slick areas of the track. Can you just double check it? And so, water. Got it. Good spotting. Yesterday's race was awesome, 4-hour endurance. Came down to the last lap. It was an amazing fight for the win, and you really feel connected with the drivers as you go through this whole race right next door. You know, you're feet away from them sometimes. Today is race Sunday. We've got 7 groups or 6 groups, and they're gonna do 40-minute races each. So today is just racing. All the stations are checking in to their chief, and you can hear her on the radio. Maybe that's her on the radio, but each station checked in, each corner marshal checked in and confirmed that they are ready. You can hear the cars starting up, and yeah, we're gonna get underway with racing. Nothing like the sweet roar of muscle cars in the morning, and these freaking Mustangs are so sick. We are not starting until 8:30, so we got some time before we get going, and I just want to give you an update on just my morning procedures is to arrive at 7:15 to a meeting point where we do a brief. We get ice, we get Kool-Aid. We're drinking the Kool-Aid for sure. We get water and beverages, and I get the Gatorade pouches for hydration because you are out in the sun all day. But that is the beginning part of our day as a spec Corvette. So learning about all different classes of different race cars. There are so many different classes, from like spec Miatas, Jettas, these prototype looking Formula One type cars. And yeah, if you want to build it, there's a category for it. And this is, I think, all part of the SCCA, which I am now a member of, and can, after this event, flag all different SCCA events, and maybe, if I get good enough, do Formula One. Another cool Corvette. I had a lot of those guys running really well yesterday. The BMW won in the endurance. I don't know what model it was, whether it was an M3 or an M4, but don't see too many Mustangs. There were a few older model Mustangs running, and one GT500 that was doing really well, but they didn't run in the endurance race. And then these cool, like, super modified race car with like a Mustang shell. So it's a tubular chassis with like a Mustang outer body. And those are really, really freaking awesome to see. Sounds great. And I got to talk to a driver just briefly. So it's cool to be out here, be at the track, and you know, getting to network with the race community. So that was a quick hardship lap from someone that is late to the races and they want to get a sense of the racetrack. They can, I guess, petition to go on the track before the races start to get an idea of the layout of the track. So that is a hardship pass, and that's why there are different classes altogether. Here we have our flags laid out for our yellow position. You know, you could wave double yellow or single yellow, or, you know, it could be standing. All this terminology is new to me, but then they have this black and white and the red, the passing of the blue and the green, all laid out, and we are ready to start the day. And just while I remember, the hardest part of this position is to, like, watch the cars pass, identify the number and the color, and remember those as they go zinging by, because in the case that there is an incident, you gotta radio in what happened and what car. So if they hit the barrier and they're stopped and they're incapacitated, they can't move, you gotta radio it in, you gotta tell them what car, what color, and you gotta, of course, be waving the flag. If they're on the track surface, on the racing line, or if they're off the line, you hold it standing. And it's all so new to me, but that is one of the hardest things that I found being a marshal, is to actively look at the car, identify the number and the color, and type, and then try to give that information to the head chief, which I think that's her title, Holly. She's in the tower up there watching us, and then they can look down on the tower and identify the incident, and then act appropriately, whether they need safety equipment, whether they need a tow truck, you know, start getting the wheels in motion so that they lose as little track time as possible. Really cool, real efficient system that you don't know ever existed if you're just a spectator outside looking in. And I got to give a huge shout out to Matthew, who was at the checkered, we call it the start position here yesterday. He was the one who got me involved, as I met him at Sebring 12 Hour, and he's like, you gotta try out this flag and cornering position, you know, join the Facebook group. He kept sharing information about how to get involved, and so huge shout out to Matthew. Thank you so much. From lap 1 thrills, cheering on your favorite cars, checking out the pits, meeting legendary race drivers, enthusiasts, and crew, FNC gets you closer in the action than ever before. And the SCCA is big on growing their membership So as a perk to working a race event, you're sometimes allowed a guest pass. And so I invited my good buddy Luke to join in and check out the racing for a bit. So here's Adrian's Miata, Spec Miata SMT, and he's in the next heat. He's going to get, he said if he finishes more than half the laps in this next race, he will get the championship. So what it takes is going to a lot of races to accumulate that many points. Oh, and there is what a Spec Miata looks like. A lot of bare metal. Cool race seat, like the race seat. Doesn't look too comfortable, but he's gonna have to race this thing for 40 minutes. Oh, look at you guys. Got a lot of 2025 winning already. And it's only October, or still late September. Cool, we'll see him out there. And a pretty cool old school Mustang here getting loaded up, heading home. Got it out, all metal, heading back. Fun. After the Spec Miata class ran, I got to cheer my buddy Adrian on as he waved the checkered flag and drive around for his victory lap. Brand new motor in that day to drive to Tampa and fixed it overnight. They had blew the motor. They just rebuilt it. This is a hardship lap. Got a race coming up. This is a race car built around the Shelby GT500 platform. Awesome ride. Cool SD Sawyers. Getting his air conditioned set up. A little ice chest and a little vent system. Blow some cool air and water through them. How y'all doing? Hoping for a good performance today? Good luck. As the big boys prepped for their race, there was a class, and I don't remember what type of class it was, but Paul's son ran in it and he won. So this is him waving the checker flag in a Jetta, which is really cool because Paul also used to race Jettas when he was younger. So shout out to him. Congratulations on the win. Peace out, Daytona International Speedway. I'm on fire, turn 5. A Mustang caught on fire in turn 5 to end the V8 session. It was a really awesome time though. I was on the yellow flag. So there's 3 positions that we had with the staffing that we were in. We did the yellow flag or the blue flag, or we worked the comps. So I was on yellow flag this last race, which were the V8s. And man, love racing. Love the opportunity to meet some of the corner marshals who are racers themselves. Paul, my coach or instructor, he was in charge of teaching the group all the different rules, all the different nuances, and also he owns a 66 GT350. And I am real excited to meet people that have vintage classic Mustangs and are also racers, and they give back. You know, he's a marshal for 30 years, he says. So I'm 37 years old, or in 20 years being 57, I could see myself coming out, hanging out with the race cars. Who knows what it'd be like in 20 years, but really awesome experience. Holly up in race control was awesome. One of the things that I learned was the vernacular, or the communication that we use, the language. And it's very similar to aviation, where there's a certain lingo that you speak, and you don't want to say too many words. You don't want to keep the air busy. Very need to know, very structured. And Holly is in control of keeping the race on time, on schedule, safe. and she did an awesome job in the booth. You could tell she has a lot of experience and ran a clean show. It's cool how organized it is. I guess racing is a very old form of competition, so it was really cool to be a part of that. I'm gonna say goodbyes to all my friends on the way out, and it was a blessing to be a part of the group. It was neat to hear everyone give their thanks on their way out, saying, you know, see you later, thanks for all the support, thanks for all the help as a marshal, because you guys don't get enough love, etc., etc. You know, everybody's waving on the way out, being very grateful for the volunteers coming out, standing in the sun all day so they can race their car. I can put myself in their shoes. Like, I could feel the energy, you know, if you were in the cockpit with the helmet on, sweating hot, engines roaring, getting ready to start the race, you know, so my energy comes out. Like, I'm really like excited and pumping them up, like, yeah, let's go, you know, as they do their formation lap, because, you know, the jitters are going, you know, they're getting focused and stuff like that. They've got they're probably their own pit crew. They had their own tech issues that they were working through minutes before the race, so now they got to get in the zone. It was cool to help or just be a part of that, because this isn't the event that we flagged in particular was a private event, so it wasn't like it was open to the public. So we were basically one of the few spectators that were watching and being involved with their race. So we saw some of their mini passes or some of their hardships of, you know, getting past and their spin outs and then recovering and then getting back in the race. So, you know, they were gracious and very thankful, you know, whenever the race was over, you know, waving to all the marshals. And yeah, very cool community. Can't wait to do it again. I know this vlog didn't have a lot of race cars in it, but as in the name of safety, I only filmed when it wasn't my responsibility to be in control of the safety flags. You'll see this in the community that filming on a hot track is not advised. We just saw Baku marshal get really reamed out on the internet for this. The F1 race in Baku this weekend, Charles Leclerc ends up crashing out in Q3 with his Ferrari, and a marshal, a flag and corner lady, ran out and tried to take a selfie with him, and the internet kind of roasted her on that. So not trying to do that. I really want to make a positive statement about flag and corner marshals, even though I will end it with this. I kind of feel like we are the corner Karens. Don't copyright this and try to make money on it, but I feel like we are the corner Karens, because all we do is nitpick all the little nuances of the drivers, like, oh, so-and-so did this. No, can't do that. Yeah, I don't want to put a stereotype on flag and corner people, but, you know, it's our job to keep everybody safe. But all we do is on the radio nonstop is just talk about drivers in a safe, positive way. But it kind of feels like we're Karens. All right, you guys, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video on a little bit of a look on the inside of flag and cornering marshals at races. If you want to get involved, please look up the SCCA. You can join to be a marshal today. Cost of $100 to join the SCCA. You take a little class online, come out, be an internship, you get closer to the action, and you can get paid. Awesome. See you guys.